Hi, everybody. It's Jose Luis Morales with the Morales Group Show. Welcome back. This is episode number 27. We have Tamara Molina here with First American Home Warranty. Today in the episode, we're going to be answering some of the common questions about home warranties. We're going to be talking about what are they, how can it help a buyer, how can it help a seller. Welcome to the show, Tamara. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How about you?
Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
It's actually Tamara, but it's okay.
Tamara. Sorry about that. Okay, good. So let's get right. What is a home warranty?
A home warranty is basically an insurance plan or a warranty plan that covers the major systems in a house. So we're talking about plumbing systems, leaks or breaks in pipes, stoppages, things of that nature, toilet issues, water heaters, the electrical systems, heaters, air conditioners, appliances. We have coverage for all of those things, plus garage door openers, ceiling fans. It's really the working systems inside the main foundation of the house.
Okay. So essentially, when just so that the public understands, when you submit an offer on a property, you have the option of selecting whether or not you want to get a home warranty, and you also have the option of selecting what you want that home warranty to cover. How long can somebody get a home warranty for? Is this like a week, a month, a year, 2 years? How does that process work?
You can actually get a home warranty anytime, but during the escrow process, when you as the agent write in a home warranty for a buyer, it's not required, but they will actually, if you ask for it, they have the option of getting it. It lasts for a year. We will offer renewals after that. If they elect during the escrow process not to have one, they do have 60 days after the close of escrow to add one at the real estate pricing, which is the best pricing and the best coverage that you can get. Or, if you have a homeowner who you have contact with and they've been in their house 5 years or 10, we can always add a home warranty through a friends and family program since they know you. So it's a really nice option to have.
That's awesome. So what you're saying is that basically at any time, anybody can get a home warranty. Like even if I've been in my home for 10, 15 years, I can say, hey, I want a home warranty.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. And then what are the typical prices like on a home warranty, and like what are the prices based on? Are they based like on square footage? Are they based on year of the property? Are they based on condition? What is that typically like?
Great question. It's basically the square footage. So, we range anywhere from around $300 for the basic plan, which is plumbing, heating, electrical, and most appliances, all the way up to, $900 or $1,000 if you have a guest house or there's a pool. That's for homes under 5,000 square feet. If you have something over 5,000 square feet, then you need to call in and get pricing, but it gets much more expensive over the 5,000 square foot mark.
Okay. And then what are some examples of like situations where like a home warranty has kicked in and been able to help like maybe like a first time home buyer in a situation? Like what would be something that would be common or typical, or something that the buyer was like, wow, I'm so glad that I got a home warranty?
Yes. So I would say probably the claim that we get the most are plumbing stoppages. So you have a buyer moving in, and maybe we had a couple moving out, they were downsizing, and you have buyers moving in, it's a family of 5, and all of a sudden the water load on the house is much greater, and then they get a stoppage and they've got their toilets backing up into the showers. And so it's nice for a $75 service fee just to have a plumber go out and able to clear that stoppage through a ground level clean out. That's handy. We've had, water heaters that, start leaking, and water heaters these days are expensive. So if we are able to go out again for the $75 service fee, there may be some modifications that they pay for out of pocket, but the majority of it is taken care of instead of them having to pay, $2,500 on a water heater, when maybe they put their last cent in the down payment and don't have that kind of money. Or a heater. Heaters these days are expensive to replace. So a warranty comes in handy for sure.
So essentially it's just a protection basically in case something goes wrong with the property after the close of escrow. Now, essentially there are things that are covered and then there are things that aren't covered. What would be an example of something that maybe isn't covered? And would it have to do anything with like pre-existing conditions?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, you figure when things are brand new, the day after they're installed, things start going wrong. They start failing. So
Mhm.
we will cover pre-existing conditions in an escrow process, but they have to be unknown. So if there was a leak behind the wall that nobody knew about, the inspector didn't catch it, there was no secondary damage anywhere anybody could see, we do cover unknown pre-existing conditions. If in the event it was called out in the inspection report and everybody knew it, that this was a pre-existing condition, you would expect that that would be taken care of before the close of escrow. The buyer would probably want that. And we don't cover those pre-existing conditions if they are known about.
Okay. So what would a process of like filing a claim look like? Let's say I'm Jose Morales, I'm a first time home buyer. I
Sure.
just bought a home and I find out that the water heater is leaking and I don't know whether it's pre-existing or non-pre-existing. What would that process look? What documents would you guys ask for and what would that process look like?
We wouldn't ask for any documentation. We have an 800 number that somebody calls. Say they moved in and a week later, they go out to the garage and sure enough, the thing is leaking. We have an 800 number they can call, or they can establish an account online and actually place the claim online, which is really easy to do. They can also call me if they have questions. I can place a claim for them. Then basically the turnaround is that the plumber will call them to schedule an appointment. He'll go out there and diagnose it. At that point, he'll say if it is truly leaking from the water heater, there's no fix for that. So we will end up replacing it. Again, on a water heater, there may be some modification costs that we don't cover, although we have a new option now that will cover $1,000 worth of modification. So it's really, really good. We just got some new options in the end of last year. But it's really easy to do.
Okay. And then at what
If they just want to place a claim on the phone, I mean, we have people that are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So let me ask you a question, like, because you said something about
Sure.
home inspection reports that if it's unknown or known, at what point would you guys ask for a copy of the home inspection report to find out whether it was a known or an unknown issue?
That's a great question, especially if it's right after the close of escrow. If we're talking a day after the close and they're moving in and there's a lot of secondary damage. We may say, hey, listen, let me look at the home inspection report, make sure that this was all good. Knowing you as an agent, if you were in that walkthrough the day before the close, you wouldn't have closed escrow if that water heater was leaking.
Mhm.
But, if they're moving in and a day or two later, I mean, stuff happens. It's common that this happens. So once we look at the home inspection report, if it is within a day or two after the close, and say, hey, the inspector cleared this, he could have said, this water heater is way past the end of its useful life, but it is functioning. That's all we need in order to clear this and not deny that water heater.
Okay, so
So
it does.
home inspection is very important.
Okay, so at that point, you guys would ask for it. What about for a homeowner that didn't just close escrow? Somebody that maybe has lived in their
Right.
home for 10 years.
Yeah.
What could they would you require any sort of inspection on their house prior to
No.
insuring them as a home warranty? So let
We
me
don't.
ask you, what protects First American Home Warranty from somebody virtually their water heater going out and then calling, hey, I want a home warranty, and essentially in a week filing a claim for a water heater?
Yeah, it's with a water heater, it's a little different because most people don't want to go without hot water for a week.
Uh-huh.
So we generally don't see that, but a couple of days after, sure. I mean, we have the availability of the tech going out who is looking at it saying, hey, this contract is 2 days old and this thing looks like it's been leaking for, 6 months. I mean, there's mold on the back wall. We can, we will deny it for that because it is pretty obvious it was a pre-existing condition.
Okay, so essentially, I mean, you would rely on the vendor to
Yes.
to basically give you his input as to whether this is something completely brand new or something that was pre-existing.
Right.
What about a seller policy? Like, I know that a lot of people focus on the buyer policy, but sometimes things go wrong during the escrow process. Like, I remember I had a property, it was a week before closing, and
Yes.
something got moved or something happened where the washer and the dryer started leaking, and nobody caught it for like a day because it was vacant. So essentially it had been leaking for a day. Flooring started bulging up a little bit. Like, what type of of services do you guys offer for sellers?
Yeah, that's a great question. We do have warranties available for a seller. It is on a per day type basis. So we put the warranty on when the listing goes live,
Mhm.
and then it's paid for at the close of escrow because you don't know how long it's going to be listed and how long it will take to close. So it's like $1.30 a day for the basic plan with air conditioning and the upgrade. We limit what we are able to offer the seller, just because if this never closes escrow, we really have no way to collect the funds. So it's a huge deal for a seller. I mean, obviously, everybody wants an escrow to close, but in the event something happens and the seller decides to pull the house off the market because they, job change or whatever, it's nice that they've had the coverage, but then they don't end up having to pay for it. I mean, it's a huge deal for a seller. But yeah, if something comes up in the inspection report, again, for a seller, there's a little leak under the sink they didn't know about, or the heater is just not heating the way that it should, those are kind of the claims that we can place. And, for the $75 service fee, the tech goes out and can actually help them resolve some issues before the close of escrow.
Okay. And then you said it's paid before when you take the listing, or at what, or?
No, it's paid at the close of escrow.
Okay.
Because again, we don't know how long it's going to be listed, how long, the escrow period is going to be. So we have no way to charge up front. We just put the order in the system. And then when we get the invoice to escrow for the buyer's end, then we will tack on that seller's coverage, which, roughly is about $35 a month, something like that.
$35 a month. And essentially, you said that if it doesn't close, then there's no fee, or?
Yeah, if it doesn't close escrow, we have no one to bill. So, in the event that the seller for some reason, there's no way we can collect any kind of a premium.
The risk is very minimal for somebody. I mean, if they don't close the escrow, then essentially they have nothing to lose. At the same time, in that situation, I mean, it would have protected the seller in that situation. That's good to know. Let me go back to another question. So we talked about like the home inspection, and I really want to understand this, and I think it's important for the consumers to understand it as well too. What happens if someone doesn't get a home inspection report, but they file a claim after the close of escrow?
Sure. And we don't require a home inspection to be done. I mean, I think everybody should have one, just from my personal point of view, but we don't require it to be done. I just use it as a tool to overturn a denial. So I will have a much harder time fighting for something if we don't have that inspection report. I can certainly do it because things happen. But with the inspection report, it's a really easy way to overcome a denial. So I like them for me.
Okay. So essentially, it just builds the case that this was in a pre-existing condition because the home inspection likely. Yeah. Okay. So it just makes the case stronger. Absolutely. Yeah. Good. And then how do I choose the right plan? Like, how do I choose the right plan for a home warranty?
Okay, so I think, especially in light of the new coverage that we have now, it really pays to kind of look at the sample contract that we have. We have some building blocks, things that people utilize the most. We have a basic plan, which again is that plumbing, heating, electrical, and most appliances. Then if you've got a house with air conditioning, then we have a plan called the value plan, which is basic air conditioning and the first class upgrade, which is a huge option. That first class upgrade is really important. And then we have another package deal, which is called the Eagle Premier, and that is the Value Plus plan with washer, dryer, and kitchen refrigerator. Now, sometimes the sellers take those, and the buyers may be, buying brand new. So at that point, we wouldn't want that refrigerator and washer, dryer coverage. But then we have a lot of optional coverages. So my thought is, for a buyer, we can email the sample contract. You can give them the sample contract to just take a look at all the options available to make sure that, when you're asking for a home warranty, you're adding all the things that you could possibly want. We have coverage for a lateral line outside the main foundation of the house now. We have coverage for outdoor appliances, pool equipment, septic. So we've got a bunch of options. So it's really important now to look at this coverage and make sure that you are getting the best thing for your home, your homeowner.
Yeah. Mike Sipes just said, Tamara, is a testament to consistent application of doing the right thing to maintain and grow her business.
Oh, he's kind. He's very kind. You know what? There is nothing like being consistent for sure. So
Yeah.
that was nice. Thank you.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Is the home warranty only for like a first-time home buyer, or does it work for investors as well too? Like, should investors be getting home warranties on their investment properties?
You know what? It's interesting. It kind of depends on the investor, I think. If they have a lot of properties and they have their own teams of people, they might not utilize a warranty as much. Warranties save you money, but not necessarily time. It generally takes us a little more time than if you have, a plumber who you send stuff to all the time, and they will come out to your property that afternoon and then replace that water heater this evening. You may get more value out of that than using a home warranty, but will definitely save you some money if you have one.
Okay.
So I think that's the thing. It depends on what kind of investor you are and if you have a lot of properties and how you handle them.
And how you want to manage risk as well too, because essentially, I mean, for a certain cost, it hedges the risk against something large coming up, essentially.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
And then what is the difference? I mean, is a home insurance and home warranty the same thing, or what's the biggest difference between those two?
Great question. And I think the big thing is an example of that would be a water heater. So home warranty will come in and replace the water heater. Home owner's insurance will come in and replace those hardwood floors that were damaged. Or, if your house flooded, they come in and they, redo the drywall and the paint. So homeowner's insurance does that. Their deductible is much higher than ours usually, whereas we'll replace whatever leaked. So if you've got a slab leak, we'll go into the floor and we'll replace that pipe, but we don't cover any of the secondary damage to the flooring, but that's where homeowner's insurance comes in.
Can somebody in a case like this file both a home warranty claim to replace the pipe and then a home insurance claim to repair the damaged wood or something like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you'd want to do that. You'd utilize your home warranty for the pipe itself, and then, homeowner's insurance would come in and do the flooring. Okay. Yes.
Good. What are the typical deductibles like on certain items, like for example, like a water heater or something like that?
Well, it's the deductible itself is $75, no matter what it is, whether it's a rekey, because we'll go in right after the close of escrow and rekey up to 6 locks and give them 4 copies of keys. That's $75. Whether it's a heating claim, plumbing, electrical, appliance, the extra costs come in on a big ticket item. So if we're replacing a water heater, we don't cover modifications. There could be $300 or $400 worth of modifications. A heating and air conditioning replacement, yes, we're going to have a Title 24 test, which is state mandated, having to do with efficiency and the ductwork. That's usually around $500. We don't cover that. Modifications, which could be about another $1,000 at least. But again, we have a new option that will cover $1,000 worth of those too. So there are things that we don't cover, even under a covered item, there are modifications we don't cover, but it's just really on the big ticket items. And I want to make sure, as long as we're talking about heating and air conditioning replacements, everybody knows now or should be familiar with Freon and how Freon is now gone by the wayside. We cannot use that anymore. So with air conditioning systems that were manufactured prior to 2012, 2013, those older units do utilize Freon. So what happens is if we have a refrigerant leak, there are EPA certified replacement refrigerants that we can use, but they are not compatible with all the air conditioners. So what we're doing as a warranty company is we will be replacing air conditioners if that refrigerant does not work. So that's huge. I mean, in the past, we would look at 30 or 40-year-old air conditioners and say, okay, well, those are, at the end of their useful life. Now we're looking at possibly 2011 units that we may have to replace just because the refrigerant, Freon is no longer around. So a warranty at this point is really beneficial. And I think with that First Class Plus option, the new option that covers some of the modifications, it really makes it a huge value. So that's important. This summer will be interesting.
Do home warranty companies cover roof as well too, like roof leaks?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. For the first year real estate contract only, we will cover up to $1,000 on a roof. There are some exclusions. The leak can't be around a roof mounted installation like a chimney or a skylight, something like that. But it's $1,000 towards, repairing the roof. So it's $100 option. And if you've asked for that and the seller is willing to pay that, then, at least you're going to get $1,000 minus the $75 service fee.
Yeah. Okay. So just a little recap of the things that are covered. Essentially, if you ask for it in the contract: roof,
Yes.
plumbing,
Yes.
electrical, foundation.
Yes. No foundation.
No foundation.
Nothing structural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flooring. No.
No.
Okay.
Homeowners insurance.
Okay. Sinks.
Yes. Yeah. The actual leaking, the piping of it. So it's the working systems, not necessarily the fixtures. So we will cover faucets under the upgrade, but the sinks themselves or the shower enclosures, that kind of stuff we don't cover, but it's the working system. So plumbing, the piping, that kind of thing, electrical wiring, the heaters, the appliances, those things that work inside the house.
Okay. Pools.
Pool equipment, yes. And those pool heaters are really expensive. So if you've got a house and, it's got some pool equipment outside, very definitely worth getting that pool option. Yes.
That home warranty. Would you recommend for sellers to pay for the home warranty? Like if it's how does that protect somebody that just sold the house? Because it could be to the point where somebody closes on a house, they just bought it, I sold it to them, and then something goes dramatically wrong. And the first thing that the buyer thinks about is, did the sellers do something to me the seller know about this and just didn't disclose this to me? And they automatically think about lawsuits. Sometimes they think about who am I going to go after to get this?
Yes.
Can a seller see this as protection as well too, for them to offer that way? If something does go wrong, the buyer's not looking at who they're going to go after. They're essentially reaching out to the home warranty and to help them out with that.
Yes, absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's really nice for a seller that when the buyer closes escrow and moves in the house, if the dishwasher breaks, that they don't go and say, oh my gosh, that seller never told me and I'm really mad. Say, hey, that's why we have a home warranty, because this stuff does happen. And it's amazing. The majority of our claims come in the first, I would say, couple of weeks after the close of escrow. Stuff happens. It's like the car knows the driver. It's the house knows the owners, with a different water load and everything happening in the house. And maybe, the sellers were older and never ran the dishwasher. They always, washed their dishes by hand. Mm-hmm. So they didn't know. The inspector came in, turned on the dishwasher. It worked fine. Well, 2 weeks later, it breaks because now the buyers are using it every day. So stuff happens. And it's really nice for a seller to be able to say, hey, that's why we purchased the warranty for you.
Yeah.
So.
Now, let me ask you a question. Some people think well, why would I get a warranty? They're probably just going to look for reasons to deny my claim. What would your response to that be?
Oh my gosh. I've been doing this for so long and I understand the perception, but in looking at what I look at every day and all the stuff that we do cover, I would say you've got to do a home warranty. It makes sense. And I think I am employed because, there are log jams in the system and things happen. And, maybe we get a denial that really shouldn't have been a denial. Well, that's when they pick up the phone and call me, and I can ease some of these things through the process, where we need to be looking at an inspection report, or we need to, what if we're trying to repair a 20-year-old dishwasher? Well, we shouldn't be trying to repair it. That's kind of ridiculous. So, we need to be looking at replacement. And sometimes we kind of get log jammed in the office, but if you have someone to talk to, it really is beneficial. So, and I'm happy to do that.
Okay, perfect. Good. And then, what about new construction? Should somebody be getting a home warranty on new construction, or what are some of the things that you've seen with new construction as well too?
We have such a deal on new construction, and what we have normally are years 2 through 5 that we cover for about the same amount as we cover 1 year on a regular, older home. But that the appliances all have the manufacturer's warranties. The heating and air all have the manufacturer's warranties. So it's pretty low risk for us. So years 2 through 5, I mean, I think on new construction, I think for all 4 years, like $525 for 4 years, which is huge. And that's for the basic only, but it's great.
So essentially the policy goes for a lot longer of a time for new construction.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. I mean, but again, our risk is fairly low because the stuff is all, brand new. So, but we do have a 2-year plan, which is interesting. That just came out also. It's a reduced rate for the second year. They give you like a 15% discount off that first year rate for the second year. And sometimes people like that second year, or maybe there's some lenders funds that need to be used, or people, have a 25-year-old heater and want to get that extra year for their extra peace of mind. And so we have that 2-year plan now, which is really good for a regular escrow transaction.
That's awesome. Cool. So I think that's it. Do you have anything else that you think that the consumers should know about home warranties, about anything related to home warranty?
Wow, that's a good question. No, I think we covered a lot of things here. So, and I know when we stop this, I will think of a million things I should have said, but no, I think we covered a lot. And I just think that really, if you have a relationship with the home warranty company and a rep, whoever it is, working for that company, is a huge value. And if it's First American, I'm happy to step up because that's what I've done for, 30 years. And I appreciate First American, standing behind me too, because we really try and do the right thing all the time. So, yeah.
I've heard very good things about you, like that you fight to get things through when things should be going through. So good.
Yes.
Where can people get a hold of you?
Cell phone is probably the best, which is 805-573-0698.
Perfect.
And I have an email address too, but you've got my card, so we're good.
Yeah, sounds good. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch the show. This is episode number 27. What is a home warranty? Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.